Hi Jags fans, welcome to Series 2 Episode 5 of the official Partick Thistle Football Club podcast. Series 2 of the PTFC podcast is proudly sponsored by PitchMe and is once again produced in partnership with our hosts, the Podcast Rooms. Today's podcast is bittersweet as we say hello just as we prepare to say goodbye to Thistle goalkeeper Mason McCready. Mason, welcome to the PTFC podcast. How are you today?
No, thank you. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Bit bored last week. The realisation of moving, settling in, but I'm okay.
Yeah, so first up, almost 10 years with the football club, from academy to first team. The end is now in sight, sadly, as you get ready to take on a new challenge. How are you feeling?
Excited more than anything. Obviously, leaving this club somewhere like I've grown up with, basically. So I think it was the first year of high school I joined the youth academy, and I've been with the first team really since their last season in the championship before the relegation. I was in a couple weeks, and then that League One season was my first full season professional in football, and I always held Thistle really close to my heart. Obviously, been there such a long time, and I would like to say it still hasn't sunk in yet that I've left, but my mind's more on other things and moving and trying to progress my career that way. So I don't know when it will sink in, but it's definitely mixed emotions.
Yeah, of course. What is, for anyone who isn't aware, what is your destination? What happens next?
So I am moving to Texas in January to play football for a USL League One club called Texoma. There's still some things to be worked out, but it's pretty much done. And it's just, I felt like every year in my career, I've progressed, but I've almost felt quite stagnant, and not much is changing. I just started to feel like I was in this routine, and I just wanted, when this came up, it just was something that was going to just throw me into the deep end and do something a bit crazy in my life that would just maybe push me forward in my career, and I just couldn't turn it down.
Fantastic. Yeah. How did it come about then?
Really, it just got started with me getting in contact with some people I know. Obviously with the American teams, they do the reverse season through the summer, so their window is now, and I knew that if I wasn't going to be playing here, I wouldn't get the chance to go over to America in the summer. So I just started texting people that I knew out there, and all of a sudden, just going through different people, different numbers, I ended up speaking to a goalie coach, and then from there it all just sort of spiraled into the position I'm in now. So it's been a weird couple months with all that happening, and different parts of it and different realizations that this is actually going to happen, and this is getting further than I thought it would, because I was under no impression that this would be happening even when I was in contact with people. It was just more to gauge the feeling, and then all of a sudden I'm going, and it was just a weird feeling. It was a weird moment in my life, but I'm happy for it.
Is that part of the States you know well?
Oh, not massively. I've never been to Texas. It's always been one of the places left on my bucket list there that's I need to visit. It gets a good rep, and it's all the sort of cowboy culture, I guess you could call it, is definitely interesting. It's definitely different from what you're used to here. So it's not a part I've visited, but definitely one I've always wanted to visit. So going and living there for 2 years and chucking yourself in the deep end seems like a good way to experience it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right, let's rewind. We'll return to the States, different part of the States, but we were born, brought up, growing up, those early years. Talk to us about Mason McCready from day one.
So Mason McCready from day one was born in a hospital in Providence, Rhode Island, which is a little state in New England. And I was born there because obviously it's the most tweeted aspect about my life ever is my dad winning the Super Bowl for the New England Patriots. So I was born there because we lived there because he played, and really the first couple of years, we stayed there majority, but we moved around a lot because he was trialing for different teams and so forth. So we lived in Kansas for a while. We were in Atlanta, and then we were even in Hamburg, Germany, whilst he played for the Hamburg Sea Devils. So we moved about a lot. So my memory is pretty short from stuff at that time. I've got little bits and pieces from different parts of the States, but to be honest, not much of it is left in my head. I've been a lot of times since to the States and on holidays and that, so I know it really well, and I love all the sports there. But in terms of being brought up, I don't really remember a whole load of it.
Yeah, first up, I guess producer Cammy, who called it fourth minute in the Super Bowl sweep.
Yeah.
we're going to allocate the next 2 minutes to that. Let's go in a wee bit more depth, because that's obviously quite a well-known fact, but not many people can pull that one out the bag, so gives a bit more context.
No, so my dad brought up in England, my dad, which is a fact that everyone seems surprised at whenever I say it, because they always just assume, oh yeah, your dad's American. Like, no.
Also, Mason, anyone but England McCready. So
yeah, no, like that got a lot of traction online. I got a lot of support for that. And like, listen, I'm proudly Scottish, and I will support the Scottish national team and everything, rugby, football, so on. But my dad is a staunch Englishman,
right?
So a lot of it comes down to just like banter. So like, whenever they play at rugby, I'm always texting him, and I'm the first one to like pretty much tell him when Scotland win. Like, did you enjoy that? Like, getting right in his face. So when I was asked the question, like, I just immediately thought, oh, my dad will love this, because like he's always on to me like, oh, you got to support England, you're half English, come on. I'm like, no. Yes. Like, so that's what that was born out. But he was brought up in London. He was a QPR supporter, lived like next to Loftus Road, and he always liked American football for some reason. And he went out for high school. We went out with his dad, and he just sort of had a knack for the sport, and he worked hard, and he ended up, after college, going on to sign in free agency with the Patriots for 3 or 4 seasons. And in that time, he sort of, in the off seasons of the NFL for the Patriots, he would come over to Scotland to play for the Scottish Claymores, who don't exist anymore, and it was there where he met my mum, who is Scottish, and they went over, got married, and then that's how I ended up being born over there. But the Super Bowl aspect is something that I almost don't think about, because it's like second nature to me. Like, it's mental, don't get me wrong, and like the Super Bowl ring, all that stuff is mental, and seeing photos of him on the sideline of the game and photos of him with like people like Tom Brady and that, it's like, it is crazy, but it's just, I've been brought up with it, so it's almost like whenever everyone else reacts to it, it's like, oh, it's like amazing. It's like, yeah, it's so strange, but it's crazy that he was able to do that. I think he was the first British person to win it. I think he is. So yeah, it's a mental stat.
It's incredible. Yeah. It's been a tremendous asset any time we've had American visitors to the Wire Stadium at Firhill, which has been very regular. Mason knows what's coming. If we've got Americans in the stadium, he always gets shouted over to tell that story. I guess how did you end up playing with a round ball then? Talk to us about that.
So I moved back over here to Scotland when I was about 3 or 4 years old, and we moved back here because my mum and dad split up. My mum being Scottish, all her family are Scottish, all her cousins, all that. We have a big family, and they all lived here in Glasgow, so we moved back here to be closer to my granda, my gran, and my granda is the biggest football man you'll ever meet in your life. So as soon as I was over, like, don't get me wrong, whilst we're in America, like, we came back to visit Scotland all the time, and I was in football shirts with like a ball anyway, but it was really when we came back, and my granda did a lot of the looking after us and like doing all that sort of thing. So he would always take us out with the football and play. He would take us to all the football clubs when we were young. He would take us to go watch all the games. So it was pretty early on, like literally within the first year or two of being here, it was like going to watch football and going into the stadiums and kicking it. And I love sport anyway, but I just fell in love with it straight away, almost. And a big reason for that is my granddad, definitely.
Beautiful. And I think he drove you towards make sure you watched plenty of Kenny Arthur in his prime, is that correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Big Hamlet Aki supporter, big Thistle fan watching Big Kenny.
We'll talk. I mean, Kenny's obviously been a much later influence, but who were the early influences apart from your granddad who you've just spoken about? What helped you, take the next steps in football?
It's a hard one. I always felt like me as a footballer was very unremarkable, even going through the youth academy. Like, I was a good player, don't get me wrong, but I was never like the guy, like in any of the teams I played in. And I, truthfully honest, I never thought I'd make it as far as I have. I just loved playing it. Like, football for me was always a distraction more than anything. Like, stuff in the early stages of my life were quite difficult at times, and there was a lot of problems. But football was always a place where I could just go and enjoy it. So, being like my mum taking me to all my training sessions, or my stepdad who works in like sports writing and all that, and all these people were like massive influences. I mean, just like they wanted me to keep going and believe in myself, and I did. But even coaches at the youth academy, such as like Jerry Britton, Scott Allison, Craig Mayer, all that lot, but football for me was never really I'm gonna be a professional. It was just always get away from things and just kick a ball about it. And I'm still very much like that with it. Like every day I'm on the training pitch, don't get me wrong, I take it seriously and it's my life, but you'll never see me not messing around and trying to have a good time with it, because that's very much what I use it for.
Yeah. That's just talking about that, the positive impact on football, obviously helping you through those hard times, because a fair amount went on when you were growing up and moving across. How long did it take you to actually settle? What was that process like?
See, that's the thing. Like, I think it was tough. It was definitely challenging for multiple different reasons. Being a little kid, you can't really deal with your emotions very well. So I was very confused for a long time. Like being brought up in America and watching American sports and moving here, my accent was very fiddly at that young age, and I was never really sure of like where I was from. I was like, oh, I'm American, but I'm Scottish, but I'm English. All that really, like, that didn't help me. And like as a kid, I was very extroverted, surprisingly, which is not what I'm like now. But I was very extroverted, and I liked a lot of things that weren't exactly like sort of typical macho sort of male. I was like very into theatre and like singing and all that stuff, which I don't really share anymore. But I was never exactly like, in like early days, like youth academy, not here but other clubs, like I didn't exactly fit in very well as well. And so trying to deal with like that sort of personality change and like growing into the place that I moved was tough. And then also like within my family life, going through the sort of divorce of my parents, which I don't really remember, but like having to visit my dad or my mum, who's very open, like who's absolutely the best and like one of the biggest influence on my footballing career and my life, 100%. Before I say this next bit, my mum was a single parent to me and my brother, and she struggled with alcoholism for a lot of our life. Sober now, I think it's like 9 years, ridiculous. Couldn't be prouder of her, but we went through that as well, me and my brother. So dealing with that part of my life and like living in my grandparents a lot and dealing with all that stuff. So football with that really helped, because I was able to step away from that for a minute and just kick a ball about, which is why it sort of carried on to this sort of like sentiment.
That's amazing, mate. Thanks for sharing all that.
Nice.
Obviously, absolute huge credit to your mum for achieving what she's done.
Absolutely.
I think we'll try and stick something up at the end of this podcast, just if anyone's got any issues or struggling from that, just point them to some support. Because
100%. And like my mum is like very active on like social media and TikTok about like alcoholism. She doesn't hide from it. Definitely doesn't hide from it. And it's something that I've learned now at my age. Like it's not something that I've never held it against her ever. Like it's not her fault. She went through a lot of things herself, and much as it was tough for me and my brother, like I wouldn't change it for the world. Like I genuinely wouldn't change it for the world. Like I'm so happy all that stuff happened to me and the family and her, because she's such a good person now, and she just wants to help people, and it's almost changed her life for the better. So it's just a disease that not a lot of people really know how to deal with. Mm-hmm. They'll always see it as like, oh, it's not treated as much as like other mental health issues or any like proper illness people get in terms of their body, because it's not something that's just like easily cured. Trust me, it takes a lot of work and it causes a lot of friction, but you need to get help for it, and you need to like know how to support your family with it, because it's such a strong and hard disease to kick, and people need to start understanding that it's not on one individual. It's a real thing, and it's a tough thing to actually get rid of, and to know where to start and to take that step and to like be with your family member through the process of going into rehab or trying to get sober. And like they're going to make mistakes and they're going to drink again and all that stuff, but if you just stick with them, eventually they kick it. And it's just important that people know where to go to like actually get that help.
Yeah, that's really well said, and thank you for sharing that again. What's evident that you've turned into a young man with a pretty strong mindset. I guess that some of those early challenges just help you build that resolve and resilience.
100%. Like I grew up early because of it, and like now I sort of bear the fruits of it. Like, me and my mum have a great relationship. I've got like a good relationship with family, and I'm not someone that's very judging of people in terms of like, before, like, I know I don't really hold grudges against people, and for that reason, like, not a lot of people know like my life story, or like, everyone points to like the Super Bowl or the American aspect, but like I went through a lot of stuff as well, and it's like you don't really know what people are going through 100%, and it's just helped me like sort of calm down and enjoy football in a sense that like, it's not pressure. Like, I love the feeling you get in football and the pressure and the nerves and all that stuff, but it's not pressure. Like, if I have a bad game, I have a bad game. Trust me, like, I've had worse days. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I'm not going to sit and like think about it for weekends on end. Like, I'm just going to go again. Like, it's definitely helped me in that aspect as well. So, I can see only positives have came from my life because of it, and because the strides my mum's taken and doing like something ridiculous in like our 9-8 year sobriety and helping other people with it. And because of that and me growing up with it, like, I feel so much more set to like go on and like actually want to like play football and like get my dreams. And it's not just it is what it is. It's just like I can do this. Like, I know I can. If she can do that, I can do anything. So I'm just grateful.
Well, and look, hats off again. And I think there's a reason we'd never over prepare for these, because these podcasts, I think it's important that it's just quite authentic, and we didn't speak of this before, and it's just come out naturally. But I'm sure Camille will agree, like what you've just said will help people. So thanks for sharing all that.
Of course.
Hats off, obviously, to Yvonne. You did mention a wee minute ago, stereotype. FC will love this, the fact that the theatre lover only felt at home when they came to Partick Thistle, so thanks for that.
No worries.
If it's St Mirren to Thistle, just on the cusp of primary school to high school, is that right?
Yeah, it was. I was let go from St Mirren in P7, and I think the first trial I had afterwards was Thistle, and from the start I just loved it. I ended up signing, and Thistle was a place where I really felt like I enjoyed football again after St Mirren. And honestly, I've got no complaints from my whole 6-7 years in the academy. Like, it was, I can't, like, it's so strange. It's such a long time, but I don't really remember like anything that happened. It was just, every year was just good fun, good coaching, and I just really enjoyed it. Like, the coaches, the trips I got to go on, all that. It was a place where I just felt comfortable, 100%. And obviously a lot of that is to do with getting older and going into high school, and I became a lot more assured of myself anyway. So, and by that point I was very much Scottish, so like that helped. Like that definitely helped me like ease in. Like, but yeah, the youth academy definitely helped me massively. Like, it was such a better place for me to be, like, mentally, 100%, and it just made me enjoy my football more, which made me progress more. Really, made me better at my position. So yeah.
You said earlier you've done better than you ever thought you would, but what at that stage in the academy, eyes maybe looking forward to first team, what were you hoping for?
I just wanted like a chance. Like, the early years of the academy, I wasn't really thinking about that. Like, but as I got close, like under 16, under 17, that's when I was like, I've got a shot here. By the way, like I can do this. And as that like went on, like I was up at the under 18s, and I was like feeling good about my football, and I was like, I can, like, I'm going to be in this Thistle first team at some point. Like, I'm going to do it. And eventually I started going in and training once a week under Gary Caldwell and then Ian McCall. And then for the League One season, McCall wanted me to just go in and train every day and go in. And then from that moment on, I was like, this is it. Like, I'm just going to... So I went every training session and just went for it completely. And it was like, when I started, like, obviously there was some teething problems in my first few years as like the first team. You're getting used to like the different speeds and the tempo, but like, it was really going into the Thistle team and the environment that made me realise, no, I can definitely do this. Like, it just made me more confident than ever. And like, compared to like what I was when I started football, where I just did it for fun and like I didn't really know where I'd end up, like, I'm now confident in my ability. Like, hence the leaving to go to America. It's like, I want to go play off my own ability. If I go do well, I want to start. I want to like take a risk and progress my career. I want to back myself to go and do well. Yeah. So like, it's like, I wouldn't do that if I didn't like fully trust what I'm capable of. So that's just, to be fair, that just comes from growing up in the Thistle Academy and like getting closer and thinking, I can definitely do this.
Do you have a wee bit longer to make that breakthrough as a goalkeeper, just by the nature of the position, and your career does tend to go a little longer, or do you not agree with that?
Yeah, like I'd say so. Obviously, like it's like we get longer in our careers anyway. Like we can play till our early 40s, but you just don't know nowadays with like injuries or anything like that. So I mean, I know I'm young. I'm 21, but it was after the Motherwell game, obviously, where like I just played that and played well, and I just was like, yeah, I can. It just gave me a bug to like, I want to play.
Yeah.
Like I want to do this every week, and a lot of my seasons have been sort of weird, and like I've not played like a full calendar year, and it just. I 21, like I want to go and play. I want to make the most of it. Like I know we get later careers, but there's no saying like if I get a bad injury, I have to retire. Any of that stuff. Yeah. So it's like. I want to go do it now. Like, why not? Like, if I could back myself to do it, I think I can do it. I don't think it's hard to.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll come back. I want to almost finish on the Motherwell.
No, that's okay.
It's such a brilliant. I'll come back to that.
Course.
But loads of loan spells during your, last 4 or 5 seasons, I guess. You've been to some places.
I've been.
What was the best loan?
I have been everywhere on this country. I swear. Toughest loan for me was 2 in the same season. So I was Cowdenbeath, followed quickly by Dalbeattie Star. 2 very different experiences. Yeah. I went to Cowdenbeath early in the season for the pre-season, and we had the Premier Sport Cup group stage, and we played St Mirren and Arbroath and Airdrie in the same group. And I thought I gave a good account of myself. I did well. It was my first time playing against like a Premier League club. And I thought I did well. We didn't really lose by a big margin in any of those games, and I made a lot of saves. And then we got to the league, and I'm trying to remember how it went. Like, I think it was the first league game, and we lost 2-1 to Gallifeyredean, and I could have done better with the second goal. Yeah, fair, but it kind of just went downhill from there. Like, there was a lot of like words said with the management team, and all of a sudden, like the day after, I'm going to be third choice for them, not starting after like one mistake. At this point, I'm like an 18-year-old goalkeeper, so it's like they said they wanted to go for some more experience. Fine, don't take me on loan in the first place if you don't expect an experienced goalkeeper to make mistakes. But so I went from there, which rocked me a bit mentally, like just to be like sort of chucked out that was kind of tough. But and then went Dalbeattie Star, which I did enjoy. A lot of good people. I got to play a lot of games, but obviously we were at the bottom end of the table, and it was really challenging that way, getting beat every week and having to make a lot of saves and still coming away with not the best results, and mentally losing every week. It is tough because you kind of forget what it's like to be properly in a game, and it was that stretch of a year was definitely challenging in terms of football wise. It was a lot of reasons to not really enjoy the game as much, but so different learning experiences, I suppose. Like you take on board, like it's never bad to have situations like that.
Yeah, and during those times, I guess you're still in at Thistle as well. All the time, what I've seen during your whole time is that goalkeeper union, notoriously tight everywhere, but at Thistle it seems especially tight, and there's a lot of people you're going to miss, I guess. This
is the best. Well, the last few years have been the best GKU anywhere in the world, period. I'm not convinced there's been a better like group of goalkeepers in world football. They've helped me a lot. They've helped me develop. Like, obviously, coming through here, there's been goalkeepers of like different ages. Like, I would been dead young, and like really the main ones like Jamie Sned and Kenny Arthur, David Mitchell, Ross Stewart. Like, everyone was very on board with each other. We're all really good friends, and we all really care about each other. And it was never like, especially the season where it was me, Sneds, and Mitch, like, we were just all really good friends, and no matter who was playing or anything like that, there was always just good vibes in the goalie corner. And that helps me. Like, obviously Mitch is further on in his career than Jamie, and they've all been and done different things, so they can give you very different advice, and they've all, like, in their current situations, they all tell you what they think. And Kenny Arthur too, like, he's, as much as any of the goalkeepers in that dressing room will say, like, he's massively influential, like, in everything goalkeeping wise, and he's like, honestly, just being a part of that goalkeeper group set me up for a lot in my footballing career, and there are 3 people that I'll still keep in contact to, like, regularly.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess one pretty precious memory is that you've talked about earlier, that League One title season, and there's some absolutely amazing photographs of the trophy day and Jamie's celebration when we beat Falkirk 5-0. So many aspects to that weird season. What was your perspective of it? Because it is so strange.
For my first experience of like first team football, being the COVID season, was bizarre. My first game on the bench, I think, was Cove Rangers away, where we were beat in the 90th minute, or there was an equaliser in like the 90th minute.
Rostock gave the ball away in the last minute.
So that was a gutter, but like it was an experience, like, to see your name in the back of the jersey and I'm a professional footballer, like, and like obviously get all the texts after the game, like, even though I was just on the bench, it was congratulations. But as that season went on, I racked up a fair number of like bench appearances, and just going for the title and the way we did it, like after, I think it was East Fife away was the turning point of that year. And we just went in every game, and there was just this feeling about the club that like, it's just on a roll, and the celebrations were just so fun for me. Definitely. The game itself, the Falkirk game, was so fun to watch from the stands. And then the party afterwards, like, you've just won the league. There's Thistle fans, because it's COVID, outside the stadium, like setting off like flares and that. And like, I'm looking out the window, it's like, when was that? 2020, 2021? So I would have been 19, 18. I think I just turned 18.
Yeah.
So I was looking out the window, like, all these fans. I'm like, what's this? I could get used to it. This is class. Like, it was strange. And then obviously the season after, like, fans start to come back, and that was just an extra like little bit. It was like, I can finally like do this, like, with like people in the stands, which was fun.
Yeah. In the midst of all this, there was a debut for you, which you've plucked one out of nowhere here with this Glasgow Cup tie against Clyde. Is that right?
Yeah, that was at Firhill. Like, we thought this club goes through periods of treating the Glasgow Cup like first team games and like under 18s games and under 20s games. So like, but at this point, I think we were very set on it being like our first team, because we had a pretty strong starting 11 out, at least for the time. And there was like an injury to the boy above me, and all of a sudden I was told, oh yeah, you're going to be playing on, I think it was a Tuesday night. So I was at school beforehand. I had a PE assessment. I was playing basketball for like an hour. So I got home, and then like all my friends came to Firhill to watch, and I think we won 9-1. I was okay. I was all right. But like, I think it was after that game that like, they got me in training under, I think it was Gary Caldwell's team. They got me in training. So like, that was almost the start of it for me. Yeah. And it was a different experience. I was nervous. Obviously the crowd wasn't huge, but playing at Firhill and all that, it felt very, it was a good like little accomplishment for myself. But then obviously you get in with the first team and you realise like, I want to play a game that's like a wee bit more meaningful than the Glasgow Cup.
Yeah. Which brings us to the Premier Sports group stage this season, and when David Mitchell got injured and you get called up, what's going through your mind at that point?
I can't swear on this podcast, so
we could bleep it out. So
I was myself.
Right, okay.
I was like, just like, it's hard for a goalkeeper coming onto the pitch when you don't start. Yeah. Something that we all talk about, and like, I was nervous. Don't get me wrong. Like, I didn't expect to play that day, and I could feel my legs being jelly as I'm warming up on the sideline. Like, oh, here we go, you got this. But I think Mitch tried to play on for like a minute. Yeah. And I knew I was ready for it, because when he tried to play on, then like, I was kind of like, could have done with playing there. Like, I've kind of got it. I'm up, yeah. And then obviously, like, bad news for him. He got injured, and like you never want to see that. But all of a sudden, I'm on the pitch, and I was nervous, but I was, after like one or two passes, you're into the game, and it's just the same game you grew up playing. You forget about it really quickly. And playing at Firhill under the lights, like, I went home that night and I was really happy with. I actually hurt myself in the warm up before the game. I had to get my ankle strapped.
No way.
Yeah. So it was a different experience, and obviously we got beat, and I was absolutely devastated. But it was good. Like, it was my debut technically, so I just went away. Like, after it all settled, I was pretty buzzing. I was pretty like happy with myself.
And then it leads on to the Sunday.
Yep.
And what a brilliant kind of final first team appearance memory to take away with you?
Yeah.
The best game of your life so far, I would guess.
Oh, easily. Easily.
Live on TV, your family there, clean sheet against a Premier League team. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's one of these ones I don't have words to describe it. Like I was nervous before the game, but I was so like no one was going to stop me playing that game. Like 100%. That whole week I was like preparing for it. I was just fully focused. And I know a lot of people say that like they can't sleep before a game or they get restless. So did you sleep well? Like, I slept fine. Like, I was nervous. Don't get me wrong, but I slept fine. I was ready for it. Like, I was really excited. And obviously, it being at Motherwell, my stepdad is like his family are all huge Motherwell fans and all that. So that was really nice for them to come out and watch me as well. So it just adds like an extra little layer that I'm quite grateful for. But like it was just, like I was walking out as like out of the tunnel, like as we're coming out, like I could feel myself. My heart was going 10 a penny. Like I was so nervous that it was about to break through my chest.
Yeah.
But then again, a couple passes into the game, and you're like, oh, this is fine. This is quite good. And like the crowd's on your back. I made the save off the crossbar, which is a great memory for me, to be honest. And after I made that save and it goes out for the corner, truthfully, honestly, my next thought was, please don't score from the corner.
That undoes all that good work.
Yeah. But I settled in, and I really enjoyed like the crowd behind me and like the sort of atmosphere and playing in that stadium in front of the fans, and it was something I kind of like thrived off of as the game went on. And again, with all my high school friends came to watch, all my family, all like everyone, and I couldn't be grateful with like how it ended up. Like all the videos of them at the game and seeing them afterwards, and all my family. Like it's just an experience I'll never forget. Like truly, like one of the best experiences I probably had in my life. Like especially it being the first time in front of supporters, my first real like start for like a professional football club, and like to have the fans like singing like my name afterwards as well. It was just like a full circle moment for me, and it's definitely like up there on like life experiences in general.
No wonder. And edging the penalty shootout, just icing on the cake. I remember walking out from that game and past your stepdad, Andy, and he won't mind me saying there was tears in his eyes. He was so proud, man. So it was a great day. And I guess the only thing, reading your mind, you'd just be that little bit gutted that you didn't keep the gloves for the next game. And we don't really need to delve into that too much. It's natural to be disappointed. Miles has come in and obviously
he's done really well.
A terrific addition for the club.
100%. Like he's had a good half season, and he's a good person. Me and Miles get on, and obviously as a goalkeeper, you're like, as any footballer would be, like it's a competitive game, and to not play the game after, obviously I was gutted, I was annoyed, I was angry, but again, I'm not someone that sort of dwells on it for too long, and I was pretty, after like a week or two, I was pretty okay, and I was just set on like training well and doing a bit, like just wanting to win games as a team. So it's not something that affected me massively. It definitely, from playing that game to not playing the next, it definitely made me feel more like I want to go out and play, which like ended up on me leaving to America. But it's football. It happens. It's part of the game. Like there's nothing really. There's nothing malicious there. It's just a sport, unfortunately.
But then you've always got that in the bank as that last memory, haven't you? And
I
mean, I can't imagine the amount of photos you've got and video clips.
And trust me.
So but there'll be many more of those appearances to come. When you sit here now and reflect, and this will be the emotional bit, what overall memories do you kind of take away from your time at Partick Thistle?
Yes. Trying to pick out a few is really difficult. Obviously the Motherwell game, you have mentioned that, but to be honest, it's just more like the banter in the dressing room and like between the goalies when we're not on the pitch and all that sort of stuff. Like the people, the staff, like the building's a really nice place to be in. Like the last like 5 years, and like I've been here a long time and seen a lot of different faces, and it's just I'll just miss the sort of the people more than anything. Like the football's great, I enjoy the training, but all the little parts that like the people don't see, and like all the little things we say to each other and the jokes and all that sort of thing is the thing I'm definitely going to miss the most, 100%.
The first team this season, in terms of the second quarter, been doing really well. Hiccup on Friday night, it's fair to say, but where do your confidence in that squad to go on and achieve something this season, Mason?
I've got full faith. Like I've been in the dressing room, I know like the attitude of the players, I know the coaching staff, and like being a part of that team, like we're a good squad with good players, and results didn't go away at the start of the season, and obviously it was a bit of a bump in the road on Friday, but we've seen what this squad can do like over the last couple of months. Like it was something stupid. Like we were like second most informed team apart from Celtic in the last winless runs or something, lossless runs or something like that. So like the team's like, it's a good team and it's like good people in it and all want to do well for the club. So I've got no doubts that they'll have like a strong end to the season. What ends up happening, who knows? It's football, like you can't really write the script for that. But they'll definitely give it a good push. So we'll see where they end up.
I'm going to put you on the spot. You've got a message to give to teammates, to fans, to staff who've supported you. What do you say to them?
I'm just very grateful and thankful for everything. I've never met a supporter, like whether it's after a game or out in Glasgow somewhere, who hasn't been just thoroughly nice to me. The support backed the team really well every game, and honestly, like the away games, the home games, the playoffs, like you won't find a better support outside the big two in Scotland, home and away. And as for like the players and the staff, like over like the last few years, like this has been a place I've enjoyed coming into, and it's just been like so like normal for me to come into Firhill and like every day, like even as like in the youth academy coming in here, so it's almost become like second nature. It's like my second home in Scotland. So it's just a place I've been grateful to be a part of, and something that's always going to be close to my heart, definitely. But I'm just thankful to be a Partick Thistle player, like for my career at any point. So I'm going to miss the place, definitely. It's going to be hard, but
Time for a new challenge.
Challenge.
Before I forget, shout out. We've not even talked about your coaching with Jamie, but young Nathan Latto and that penalty save yesterday, an absolute belter.
Absolute belter. Yeah. I can't believe you like watching the game when like he made that save. I was like, oh, class, he's doing well. Like, I've not seen him in a while. Like, good kid.
There you go. Keep it up. Right, how can we keep tabs on you in the next step of your journey? Give us your social media channels. A wee plug here.
Yeah, I'm Mason McCready 03 on Instagram. It's probably the best way to follow me. Texoma FC as well, the club I'm going to be going to, or just USL League One in general. But
announce pre-season friendly, please now.
We'll
head over.
Trust me, please, it'll be amazing. But yeah, like just like my Instagram, we're going to be posting a lot about it. It's going to be something that excites me. So me trying to adjust to life in Texas will be interesting. It's a very different culture. I'm definitely, the first thing I'm doing is buying a massive truck. If I'm going out there, I'm going like full throttle. Like I'm going in truck, like cowboy hat, everything. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna be like a walk-in stereotype. Just because I feel like I have to. But
Cammy, does that surprise you?
No, I'm slightly.
What about this? We've got Cammy helping produce today. Tell us about your relationship with him.
So I've known Cammy since nursery. The Cammy's a massive Partick Thistle fan. So since I've been in the youth academy and since I've like been in the first team, like we've like in the youth academy we went and watched a lot of Thistle games together, and he now works in here at the offices, and we've been in the same friend group for so long, and like he's one of my best mates, and we talk a lot of about Thistle constantly, and you know, yeah, you do. Don't lie, but it's friendships like him that I'm gonna miss when I'm in the States, but like. All of them know I'm gonna have like a blow-up bed in my room just for all the.
I'm so glad you said bed.
Well,
let's leave it there. Mason McCready. But isn't it nice to finish off your kind of Firhill story with your pal in the room? That's what we're getting at there.
Yeah, 100% is like he's been with me through it all, definitely, and he's definitely been. So he was actually, I think. From early on in high school, he always said to me, like, see, when you make your debut, I want your shirt. I'm like, well, you're not going to get my shirt, let's be honest. Like, it's my shirt. He's like, fine, I'll take your socks. I never gave him my socks, but he has a shirt now. Not given to him by me. Someone else in the club gave it to him. But he has that. So I guess that's good.
Bad news is he'll be getting an invoice for 50 quid after this. Mason, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, and it's been a pleasure having you at the football club for so long. And thanks for always representing the club so well. You've always been so positive, a good influence around the place, especially on some of the younger staff as well, very supportive. So don't be a stranger. We'll keep in touch with you, you keep in touch with us. All the very best for the future, and remember, once a Jag, always a Jag. Mason McCready,
100%. Thank you.
And thanks again to the podcast room and series sponsor Pitch Me. Get in touch if you want to sponsor a future episode. I promise you the next one will not be as long a wait as this one has been, but for now, thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time. All the best. Come on the Jags.